Wazazi, vuta stool ama kiti karibu na TV na radio. We have a discussion to get into this morning. This month we are doing a series on when the child becomes a parent, and today we are focusing on when the parent becomes an addict. And the child has to take on the parenting role. It's almost like now you're parenting your parent because they're such an addict hata hajiwezi. Now, if that is a situation you had to go through or you are going through, talk to us, 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. In studio with us today via Zoom, I get to hang out with Masi Janaki. Masi is a life coach. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Karibu sana, good to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Same here.
We also have Dr. Wangeshi. I like calling her Pastor Doctor. Pastor Doctor, how are you doing?
I'm good, Pastor James.
It's been a while. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Great. So, when the child becomes a parent, because the parent is an addict, and I'm just thinking, apart from alcohol addiction and maybe drug addiction, are there other common addictions that people succumb to in this country? Dr. Wangeshi, apart from those two, my thoughts are those are the main ones. Ama kuna zingine?
Unazo, there are many, because those, what you have just mentioned, those we call substance abuse.
Okay.
Those are substances, the alcohol, the drugs. But the others that are non-substance.
Okay.
Like, yeah, somebody is addicted to gambling.
Ah.
Gambled all the way to poverty, and and it's a real addiction.
Yeah.
Talk about sex addiction, food addiction. Now, those are not really substances in the way we know substance.
Yeah.
They may not really be psychoactive like the alcohol and the other, and weed and other things, but they are as addictive.
Okay. So I'm just thinking in that scenario where the parent is so addicted that they can't even fulfill their parental duties. Instead of being the ones who give care to their children, the children have to be the ones that give care to them. I don't know how that affects a child, Masi.
So, as a child, when someone is not let to be a child, they have to look for survival tactics.
Okay.
So when you are given that role when you take up, you actually are not given.
Yeah,
you have to step up.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to step up and become a parent. You don't have that emotional maturity. You don't have a lot of maturity in you. So you adapt and you look for ways to survive these situations. So, for example, there are also other addictions that we say are profitable addictions, like work, that most people do not want to talk about because, it is bringing money.
Yeah.
But people are addicted to work. And they think that just because they're bringing in money, now it is compensating for their parenting.
Yeah.
But now the child also has to come in and become a parent. They're the ones who have to budget. So at that age, they do not have a good relationship with money. And this also carries up to adulthood.
Okay.
Because it's all about survival. Everything they do, it's about staying afloat. So it affects the child such that they're not able to build up their personalities, their real characters.
Yeah.
So they adapt.
Wow.
And if sometimes they're not able to adapt, they zone out. That's when you have like issues like ADHD, because now if you're not able to adapt to something, you assume it is not there. And then now as an adult, you get that issue of avoiding to deal with issues because you do not know how. Nobody held your hand to show you like, this is how you deal with issues because the parent was not there.
Okay.
That's, you only know how to deal with issues one way, survival.
Okay. Doctor, I'm just wondering, how does this change the dynamics of this relationship between the parent and the child? Because I love what Masi said. It's not like you're given this responsibility, suddenly there's a gap, or gradually, where addictions are concerned, you start seeing this gap and you just have to learn as a child to cope. And before you know it, you're actually the one taking care of your parent instead of your parent taking care of you. So how does that affect the dynamics of this parent-child relationship?
So,
Doctor, are you there? You seem like you're frozen. Can you hear us? Dr. Wangeshi, can you hear us?
No, it's breaking. I'm not too sure whether it's your end or mine, but it's breaking.
Can you hear me clearly now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you, but I didn't hear the comment.
Now
I can hear you.
The question was how does this change the dynamics of the relationship between the child and the parent, because it gets to a point now where things are reversed. You're the one taking care of your parent instead of your parent taking care of you, and this is something that you had to take up. How does that affect the dynamics of the relationship?
Well, you've already said it, Pastor James. First of all, a child is not supposed to be taking care of a parent in that sense. But more than that, more than the actual taking care of, there is the psychological and the emotional stuff that is going on in the child.
Okay.
First of all, if you're talking about a child,
yeah,
children, a lot of the times when things happen in the family, children have a way of thinking the cost, whether it's the good or the bad. So there is a possibility that, first of all, this child blames themselves for the kind of parent that their parent is.
Yeah.
And so they'll carry that blame with them. They're also embarrassed because of the behavior of the parents. You can't even have friends over just in case whether it's your mom or dad staggers in whatever state they usually come in. So you can see them always embarrassed by this parent. And if they're embarrassed and blaming themselves, are they likely to have like friends, like the way children have friends coming over?
Yeah.
They're not likely to have them because they don't know what to expect. And that causes them to isolate a lot. So this child is isolated, this child is embarrassed, this child is worried, of course, scared for the parent. I mean, you'll breathe in and breathe out when they come in one piece.
Yeah.
Before then, you don't know what to expect. Wow. So a lot of the effect is psychological, even as we come to the now taking over responsibilities.
Okay. I'm just wondering, still on that whole aspect of the psychological effects and the embarrassment, Mercy, sometimes when the addiction has just overwhelmed this person, maybe it's drug addiction or alcohol addiction, even the community knows, because they see them. So maybe you become the kind of person who's always being told, Baba yako yuko huko kwa mtaro kuja ukamchukue. What does that do to this young man or young woman who finds themselves having to take care of their parent in that kind of a situation?
First of all, apart from being embarrassed about being your parent, it also lowers your self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
Because you are now associated with this person that is a shame to the community. So if people want to attack you, they will attack you with your parent. They'll be like, wewe ni kama babako, like you're like your father, and it really affects your self-image. Like you don't have that courage to even approach people, to even be outspoken. And that now, like Dr. Wangeshi said, leads you to isolation.
Yeah.
So when you keep to yourself most of the time, now you are now named an introvert. But you're not an introvert by choice. You're an introvert by circumstance.
Yeah.
So you separate yourself so much from the society. And you see the society is what builds character, it's what builds behavior, it's what builds a person to who they are. But now you have separated yourself. How do you mature emotionally? How do you mature mentally? How do you know what to do next? So as this person grows in adulthood, they find that they're emotionally immature and they're not able to deal with certain situations.
Okay.
Because nobody was there to nurture them. They separated from the society and they separated from everyone else. And as you know, as the saying goes, it takes a village
to raise a child.
To raise a child.
Yeah.
But now in isolation, now who is raising you?
Very true. I'm just wondering, but can such a child grow up to be an angry person?
Yes. Yes. because of suppression. First of all, this addict parent shows you that there are other more important things other than you.
Oh, okay.
So you are not valuable.
Yeah.
So there's the issue of rejection. There's the issue of neglect. So at all the time, you always feel like, why is it my fault? Like you're always angry. And because you do not have anyone to express yourself to, you suppress your emotions, you suppress your thoughts. And at some point, it always comes out. You find someone just did something small to the person and then they blow up.
Yeah.
It is not because of that one thing. It is the pile up of all these things that happen from childhood. The rejection, the neglect, all these things. This person is always like angry.
Yeah.
Like, why do I deserve this?
Yeah.
What did I do to deserve this kind of life?
Okay.
Because where there's addiction, there's something that is lacking. There's no love most of the time. There's not, that appreciation. And so this person feels like, I am not loved. And when a person feels they are not loved, what do they have inside of them? They have hatred, they have anger, they have low self-esteem. And this person, you can only give what you have.
Yeah.
So as they interact, they'll only interact in those terms. Like,
wow.
I also do not love, I also do not appreciate, I also do not do all these things.
Okay.
So you find that these people, most of the times, they're full of anger and they're full of hatred inside of them.
Okay. Dr. Wangeshi, I'm just, as we talk about this, I was reminded of can you get me, Daktari?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, great. I was reminded of the story of Noah. You remember when Noah came out of the ark, he decided to plant a vineyard, akakunywa kidogo, akalewa, and he lay there exposed, and one of his sons happened to walk in on him. And I'm just thinking, sometimes when you have an addict in the house, that becomes the situation. Sometimes, you have to clean up after them. They have come, they have puked all over the place, they have sued on themselves. It's just a mess. And so you as a child, this is what you're exposed to. This is your dad or your mom, and you have to clean up after them. I'm just wondering, what does that do to a child?
You see, Pastor James, they say, what they say about addiction is that it's a family disease.
Yeah.
There is the one who actually takes whatever substance it is, but everybody else is now drawn into that web.
Yes.
So once you have someone that is abusing anything, everybody in the family now becomes a partaker. That's why when a parent walks in and they're in that mess, whether they puked all over, whatever mess they may create,
yeah,
then it's everybody's business to clean up. It's everybody's business. And don't even think about the physical cleaning up. Because even psychologically, they have to work together to hide this shame. You know what we call family shame?
Yeah.
It's not just the family that saw this guy staggering on his way home. Everybody in your estate or in the village saw the state he came in.
Yes.
So there's a lot of shame within the family itself. And of course, the children are not spared. So even as you're trying to clean him up physically, you're also trying to clean up the family,
yes,
remove the family shame, cover the embarrassment, make excuses for them. We've had family members, even whether it's a child or a spouse.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, someone came in, they were so high they can't go to work, or they blacked out so they won't go to work. And you'll find a child or even a spouse calling in to lie that they're sick. What are you doing? You're trying to clean up his mess.
Yeah.
In the office and places. But you see, now that's where we create codependence, because now you're getting caught up in his mess and leaving it too. And children easily get drawn into that because this is your parent.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This morning, if you have any questions for us, 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. When the child becomes the parent, because the parent is an addict. Tuesday morning, Parenting Tuesday. When the child becomes a parent, because the parent is an addict. We're hanging out with life coach Masi Janaki and Dr. Wangeshi. I've got a message here from Beatrice from Kabete. She says, please pass my regards to Dr. Wangeshi. I've missed her morning devotion. I can't forget her devotion about Joshua and Caleb. You see, you're Pastor Doctor. Even the people know you're Pastor Doctor. Martha Ann is saying this: I am really masikio on this series on children being forced to parent and learning a lot. And I now understand the 14-year-old boy I foster who was rescued from all this. Thank you for empowering us out here, Martha Ann. Thank you. Maybe you can share with us what condition was he in when he came to you. Maybe we can also learn from that experience. Now, Mercy and Daktari, I'm just wondering, what are some of the negative things this child is exposed to as they try and parent their parent, because their parent is an addict? The parent is supposed to be the cover. The parent is supposed to be the protector. But now the parent is hajiwezi, so the child is exposed. So, Daktari, what are some negative things that a child in this situation is exposed to?
I think the worst of them all, according to me, would be the fact that they have to grow up before their time.
Uh-huh.
And they're forced to take over adult responsibilities. And Pastor James, they don't just parent the parents.
Mm-hmm.
They also become parents to the rest of the siblings.
Yes. In fact, I was going to ask you on that one, does that change the dynamics they have with their brothers and sisters?
Of course, they're now parenting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're nursing a parent that is completely out of control,
mm-hmm.
and having to take care of the rest of the family, the siblings. Mainly this is taken over by firstborns.
Yeah.
Who, by virtue of position and all,
yeah,
take over responsibilities quickly from the parents. So you can see this child being forced to grow up,
mm-hmm.
being forced to take over adult responsibilities. This child is now going to be the one looking for food.
Yeah.
For the rest of the family.
Yes.
Now, at that age, that is way too much to expect for that child.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't, I think it's Mercy who has said, they're not given a chance to be children.
Yes.
Now, that, of course, will come into play later in their lives.
Mm. I'm wondering, Mercy, is this child most likely to find themselves in a similar situation where they become an addict because of all this that is around them?
Yes. Actually, there's a big percentage that also become addicts.
Uh-huh.
Because what exactly is addiction? What exactly is addiction?
Mm.
Addiction is any behavior that a person finds temporary pleasure in and therefore craves but suffers negative consequences in the long term, and they're unable to let it go.
Okay.
So they look for an escape also. And the escape that this parent has shown
mm-hmm.
is maybe drug use, or maybe overworking. And so there's that trend. Actually, there's also a survey that was saying if a parent is addicted, there's a much higher chance for the child to be addicted also.
Okay.
Because they're also looking for an escape.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have that mental strength to say no, I can't do this. But if my parent is able to overcome whatever he's overcoming through this, then I can also go the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also a big chance of this child becoming an addict in the future, because they are looking for an escape, because they do not have the capacity to deal with issues head on.
Mm-hmm.
They're a child, but it is how you bring up a child. So yeah, I say yes, there's a possibility for the child to also become an addict in the future.
Okay. Are they, Doctor, I'm just wondering also, because of, like we said earlier on, that the parent should be the protector of the family. And a situation like this, especially if the child now is a girl, are they more prone to sexual abuse?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. I want to, first of all, take you back just slightly to what Mercy was saying about children of addicts becoming addicts.
Mm-hmm.
Behavior is modeled.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard. When they say that you can teach someone, you can't teach someone, they copy what you do, isn't it?
Very true.
So we say behavior is not taught. Behavior is actually not taught. Behavior is caught.
Mm-hmm.
I watch you, I do it. That's the power of modeling. So the parent has already modeled behavior.
Yeah.
Addiction and all. So there's a likelihood because of the modeling, the children may go that way. But also, if a parent is addicted, it also means that there's a predisposition genetically for children to go that way.
Okay.
So that is also something for anybody to watch out for. Because if you see a parent that is addicted, the children need to be very, very careful. It could be a genetic predisposition, and if they abuse anything, they could also end up in the same line.
Okay.
So what was the other?
The other one was, are they more prone to sexual abuse, especially if the child is a girl?
Yes, especially the girl, because if you give the girl the responsibility to fend for the others,
yes,
to be the one buying, their food and their supplies, and this girl is not employed, what do you expect she will end up doing? How is she going to provide for her family? So and of course, because they're so vulnerable, any person that may come in the name of helping may require them to give in to such favors like sexual favors. And of course, even the one that is abusing substance, even as a parent, especially if it's a father, we've also had instances of incest.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
it
gets very murky.
There's a story in the papers today I was reading earlier. It's western part of Kenya, cases of incest are on the rise, and maybe it's due to things like this.
Yeah, because people also use alcohol and whatever other substance as the excuse. I didn't know what I was doing, I was drunk. And when you use that as an excuse, you've already violated someone somewhere. And that could be your own child. So especially for the girl child, that gets very, very dangerous.
It's almost like this child, Massive, will have to put their life on hold, because I'm not seeing how you can handle all that and you're still in school, focus on your education, get good grades. So it's almost like your life comes to a standstill. You become the sacrificial lamb for the sake of the rest of the members of the family. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, that happens especially with the elder one, because now they take up the responsibility. They're the ones who need to know what the other kids are going to eat. And there's no way you are going to go to school and also come and fend maybe for food. Some of them have to work, some of them have to go, do some menial jobs to be able to raise a little bit of money so that they can be able to feed their siblings. So sometimes it is not possible to juggle the two. So you have to give something up, because a parent is a full-time job. Being a parent is a full-time job. So this is a kid. So there's no chance for them to be a child. No, they have to take up this role fully. So they lose out on, first of all, being a child. First of all, on the important lessons of life. So by the time they're being adults, there's a whole part of their lives that they did not live. So yes, they lose a lot. They lose so much in their childhood that by the time they're becoming adults, there's a gap in their life. And actually, it affects them to the point of some of them do not even want to have children in future, because children are a burden. So they do not want anything to do with kids. They do not want anything to do with parenting.
In fact,
because they already did that.
I was going to ask that question later, in terms of how does this experience affect their parenting when they get to that place where now they have their own children. So you're saying some of them may not even want kids.
No, they do not want kids. Because it is a burden. It is a job. And you've done it all your life. You don't want anything to do with that anymore. There's that thing ingrained. If this adult could not be able to handle this, then this is a bad thing. So they avoid, most of them, they avoid, I don't want kids. So you do not, so you have to understand people out here, say, I don't want kids. They have that experience. Kids are a burden.
Okay. Shortly, Daktari, we'll talk about, how does society help in situations like this, or even family members, because you may know you have a brother or a sister who is an addict. We all know in the family, and they have children, but sometimes we ignore things like this because kila mtu akae kwake na shida yake. So if you find yourself in such a situation, daktari, where you know a family member is an addict and they have children who may be struggling, or you see such a thing in your community, your neighbor, you know, a friend of yours, how can we come in and help? What kind of support can we give to this kind of children? Talk to me if you have any questions for us today. 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. When the child becomes a parent, because the parent is an addict. We're hanging out with Dr. Wangechi and life coach Masi Janaki. Questions coming in on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Daktari, there's a question here. Somebody is asking, if the child is a boy, could they become a narcissist? Could they become a control freak?
Yes, they could, and maybe not. The causes for narcissism is different. So they may not, depending on whether they were predisposed in the first place. Yeah. But the chance exists, of course. Because, for one, they're used to having control. Yeah. Since they were small, they took responsibility when they were very small. So, because of that, they may get into relationships with a control mindset. Yeah. I am always the one in charge. I'm the one who says how things run, and that can go south very easily. Okay. Yeah. This is
Martha is replying to Martha is the one who had said she's learning a lot. She had to, and she's now understanding the 14-year-old boy she's fostering. And she says when he came in, he was confused, scared about separation from his siblings, resentful why he had to parent his little brother and sister while his mother was out there having fun. He sways between wanting his mother, especially now there are boundaries and he's on a routine, and being angry at her for what she has done. He is very private and cautious around people he doesn't know. This boy has been through a lot, witnessed a lot. I'm somehow glad he's going off to Form 1 so he can focus on himself for once, but I'm also apprehensive because we know the dynamics of boarding schools. This is totally a faith walk. I'm just wondering about this whole scenario where, you know, he's oscillating between being angry at the mom for what she has done and not wanting even to see her. You're on and off. You know, how could she be off having fun and I'm the one who's supposed to take care of my brothers and sisters, and then on the other hand, you are angry at her, you want to see her, but you don't want to see her. Daktari, what is going on here in the mind of this young one?
It's the whole range of emotions, Pastor, because, and they're all valid. We must validate the boy's feelings because he's angry at the mother for leaving her responsibility to him. Yes. And yet, this boy is still a boy who craves a mother's love and a mother's attention. Yeah. Do you see? Yes. So what part of him really wants to reach out to the mom as a mother and be nurtured by this mom, because that's what mothers do. The other bit remembers this mom who abandoned me with the children and I had to do her work. Yeah. And according to him, he imagines the mother was out there having fun. Exactly. The addict will tell you there is no fun. Yes. This is compulsive. Maybe whoever is asking that needs to take the boy to, you know, for therapy. First of all, so that he may understand not just what has happened to him, but also have a better understanding of what was happening to the mother. Yeah. Yes, so that he can be slightly more empathetic towards the mom. And then, you know, as they both, I hope the mother is making some effort into healing it. Yeah, I hope so too. So that they both can heal together. Yeah. Because clearly the boy does need the mother and craves for that, you know, mother's love and parents' attention. Yeah. He's a child. Wow. Wow. So therapy would be helpful for both of them. Wow. Yeah. There's another one here that says, "Good morning, God's people. I was there and I had refused to get married and still struggling with issues in my marriage. Thank you so much for this discussion." Wow, thank you for sharing. I'm just wondering, Masi,
when we see this kind of thing in society, maybe it's a friend or maybe it's even a relative, you know, sometimes we put so much focus on this person, pointing fingers at them and, you know, saying all sorts of things, but their children here, what kind of help can we offer such children?
So first of all, it's just, be there and don't judge. This person is already hurting.
Yeah.
This is where compassion comes in full swing. Because you need to understand that it is a disorder, it is compulsive. It is not like something that someone chooses to be like cautiously most of the time.
Yeah.
So first of all, there's that compassion. Just be there. If, for example, if you realize that these kids are struggling with simple things as food, if there's a way like a person can just step in, it lifts the burden.
Yeah.
If you can listen to these people, sometimes people just want to be listened to. They don't want advice. They just want their pain to be acknowledged. I am suffering, and I'm suffering because of 1, 2, 3. They need to be able to share that without feeling judged. Because that's when now, if you cannot be able to share openly, now you have to isolate, you have to suppress.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And it also affects your emotional well-being, it affects your mental well-being. So I think the society could be more compassionate, could be more loving, because like I said earlier, it takes a village to raise a child. Let us be our brother's keeper.
Okay.
Because this person is going through something because they're trying to find immediate, to feel relief immediately using a substance. So that means that person is already hurting. So can we not try and add more pain to this person by judging them, by kicking them while they're already down?
Okay.
You have to let's just try to be more compassionate, to understand that this person is doing this because of a certain pain inside of them.
Wow.
So for me, that will be the best approach. Let us be more compassionate, be our brother's keeper, make the burden lighter, be kinder.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you see that situation, just be kinder. You don't know what this person is already going through before now they get to this situation.
Dr. I'm just wondering, for that person, that parent that we are talking about today, and maybe they are listening, you know, and they know this is the situation they are putting their children in. What would you advise them to do? They know they have an addiction, and they know when that addiction takes over, they become a mess, and the children have to take over, and they keep apologizing to their children, things will be better, but it seems we are jumping from the frying pan into the fire. What would you advise them to do?
I think the greatest advice I would give them is to seek help. Because addiction is not like a cold. You know, sometimes if you catch a cold, not corona, but a cold.
Yes.
You can just take warm water and do stuff, and then, you know, on its own it goes away.
Yes.
Yes. But addiction is not like that. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. And to be honest, Pastor James, I deal with addicts.
Yeah.
I deal on a day-to-day basis. And so I know that they have every good intention to stop. But you see, this has become compulsive behavior. So on their own, it's very, very hard to stop.
Yeah.
They need help. So I'd say to that person that knows they have a problem, please seek help. Seek help from someone. Of course, I appreciate that family members are also very, very hard on addicts.
Yeah.
They've been called all manner of names.
Oh, yeah.
They're the black sheep in the family.
Yes.
They're the official family embarrassment. Everything wrong with our family stems from those people, isn't it?
Yes.
I wish we could be kinder to them. I wish we could focus. And the one way, allow me to say this, Pastor James, the one way to catch an addict is to make them know that they can trust you. Whether it's a brother or a sister, someone that is struggling with an addiction, please build trust with them. And the one question that runs over and over again, can I trust you? And the answer to that question is not a mere yes. The answer to that question is to show that you can actually be trusted. Why? Because there are reasons Why? We say addiction is really just symptoms.
Yes.
There's an underlying reason why this person has abused substance to that level.
Yeah.
Can they trust you with the dark secrets of their heart?
Ooh.
Let there be someone who can build trust with this person. Even as we think of helping the children, the children will appreciate it when their parent is well.
Yeah.
Because then they can be parented.
Wow. Ladies, asanteni sana, Mercy and Dr. Wangeshi. It's been wonderful hosting you. Thank you for your insights. Unfortunately, my time is up for today, but I believe even looking at the messages that have come in, somebody has been touched by this message. And I hope that they will act on it. That's all the time we have for Parenting Tuesday today. Thank you so much for tuning in. God willing, we'll do it again next week.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.